Arcade Fire are back with their new album, Reflector. This is a huge step up for a group who've already mastered their craft. It's a record that explores new sonic territories, yet stays quintessentially Arcade Fire. Reflector by Arcade Fire, our feature album on Triple J.
Yes, it is our feature record. We've been waiting for this for ages, 3 years in the making, the fourth record from Arcade Fire. Reflector, as you heard there. We're going to play a bunch of tracks this morning as we talk to a member of the band himself.
Yes, we can't believe our luck. We've got Will Butler from Arcade Fire on the line. Good morning, Will.
Good morning.
You were lying through your teeth. It's not morning. Whereabouts are you?
I am in Miami, Florida.
Are you about to take the stage pretty soon?
About to, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll let you zone and make sure you're ready for the show. That's very important.
Now
I'm sure an Arcade Fire show is very involved.
Are we talking to the real Will Butler or the big papier-mâché headed Will Butler? And how are those two people different?
Papier-mâché headed Will Butler sounds like this.
All right, well, that's going to make for a horrible interview. We can't talk to that guy. Sorry.
Yeah, let's put proper Will back on the phone. It's a big part of the build-up to Arcade Fire's new album Reflector, alongside some interesting gigs. It seems like you're having a lot of fun bringing out your fourth album, Will.
Yeah, very enjoyable.
What's the thought process behind that? Because we're seeing this obviously Reflector, the single, the record, the age of reflection or the reflective age. Wynn's talked about a lot. Papier-mâché's in there. We've had the two different bands, the confusing, the punking, the sweet joy, as Alex was mentioning there. What is the thinking behind the double-sided, the two sides to Arcade Fire and the Reflectors?
I mean, I think a bit of it is we've got nothing to lose at this point. We might as well go out and make some stupid jokes and have some laughs and do some gags, because what could possibly go wrong?
Of course. Well, it's been so much fun to watch the process. Is there any gags or pranks or any ideas that were left on the cutting room floor from Arcade Fire when bringing out the album? Is there anything you wanted to do that maybe you thought, oh, it's a bit much?
I won't mention them yet, because who knows if they'll get lifted off the cutting room floor and made into stupid reality at some point. Almost every idea we've had off the top of our heads has become reality at this point, so we've gotten pretty high.
Well, some of those including getting Ben Stiller and James Franco and Bono in a bit of an extended live video clip for a couple of songs as well. It's been really fun to watch. Did you get to have a chat to Bono about music and life, and the same with Ben Stiller?
Everyone was kind of just like, sure, whatever, that'd be fun. That sounds like a stupid joke. Let's do it. I was particularly proud of Jason Schwartzman as a centaur in that special as well.
That was inspired, Will. Absolutely
That's
inspired. And Michael Cera in there as well, saying he'd prefer Shakira over an Arcade Fire any day. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, who wouldn't? Seriously.
Damn good point.
Will Butler, do your hips lie?
My hips have been known to lie, but that's because, once again, we're no Shakira. She's just so pure and honest right from the hips.
Just don't lie, that's right.
We're a little bit dissembling, you can never trust us.
Sure. On Triple J, Will Butler from Arcade Fire joining us on the line at the moment as Triple J features the new record, Reflector, all this week. You can do all these stupid jokes because you have great music to back it up. We're going to kick off with that first single we had, the big tune, Reflector. We'll get a little bit more of an insight into this track with Will after this.
That's Reflector by Arcade Fire on Triple J, the first taste we got off the album Reflector, the new one which comes out on Friday. We're featuring it all this week on Triple J, and Tom and I myself are lucky enough to be talking to Will Butler from the band right now. It's one of the tracks that took quite a while to put together. Will, can you tell us the long journey that it was, the track Reflector?
Well, we played it about 24 different ways, different bass lines, different chords, different lyrics, different tunes, different everything. And when we finally recorded it, we did it with a 12-piece band live in the room off the floor with the horns behind glass and the congas behind glass and 3 people playing synths and 4 people playing guitars and a drum. It felt like an old 70s Motown session. It was pretty inspiring when we finally got it. We were like, oh, we actually just have to play this. And then we played it, and we were like, oh yeah, sounds pretty good.
And something else from the 70s, Mr. Bloody David Bowie was there. What was it like being in there with the Duke himself?
The Duke.
He smells so good.
Well, can you try and describe it, please? For those of us who haven't smelt David Bowie, can you just try and make that come alive for us, Will?
His musk. What is his musk like?
What's it like?
It's kind of floral but masculine. It walks to David Bowie. It smells like you would think David Bowie would smell like. It's light, not too pungent, but awakens the senses as he enters the room.
Why hasn't he released a fragrance? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, come on, Bowie.
Call it Labyrinth or something like that.
What did it mean, though, to have him there in that session? Because there are a few nods to Bowie's incredible body of work throughout the record. James Murphy from LCD producing on this track. We know he's a very big fan of Mr. Bowie. What did it mean to you guys, and how appropriate was it musically to have Mr. Bowie join you on that track?
Well, the track needed a third point of view because it had these two, it had Wynn and Regine singing at each other, but it kind of needed a third dimension and needed a third voice. And David Bowie is a real touchstone for the album, not just in his music, but in kind of his fluid identity and how he's gone everywhere and back. So he definitely has a lot of wisdom in it. So as wise chameleon, he was pretty vital to it, I thought.
Awesome. We're chatting to Will Butler from Arcade Fire on Triple J. We might take a break. We've got to get to the 8 o'clock news, but after which we're going to be playing some more Arcade Fire songs for you off the brand new album, maybe one that you haven't heard yet. So please stay with us. You're listening to Triple J.
Tom and Alex are here with you on breakfast. Good morning. It is Arcade Fire Day. We're featuring the new record Reflector all this week. Long-awaited record. It's a big one. A lot of hype around it. Up there with the Daft Punk record earlier this year. Lucky enough to have Will Butler from the band on the line at the moment. You're still with us, Will. You're still having a great time?
I'm still with you, and I'm still having a great time.
You're right.
Excellent. Let's step into a little bit more of this album. I'm going to ask you about the track We Exist. I mean, there's a lot of talk about a bit of distance between people these days. Now we're staring at a screen. Another one walking around, head full of sound. You can see right through it. What responsibility does Arcade Fire take with people walking around, not paying attention on public transport, with headphones in their ears? They're probably listening to Arcade Fire, Will.
I take full responsibility, and I'd like to take this chance to apologize to all the people of Australasia that have been affected by our music in a negative way.
Thank you very much. Finally. Finally.
Speaking of long-awaited.
Yeah. Thank you very much. It's a double record. It's 75 minutes. Can you talk about that split? Is the album divided in your mind as well, Will? Do you see these as two separate worlds, these two collections of songs?
We tried it as one collection of songs, and it was way too long, and still way too long as two collections of songs, but you can kind of digest it. It fits in the brain easier in two halves. When it's one half, you kind of get a bellyache.
We talked about Bowie before as a big influence on the record. What else is there? Wynn's talked extensively about your time in Haiti. So we've got his perspective, obviously Regine, hailing from that part of the world. What does Haiti mean to you, the music and the people and the things that you guys have seen in that country?
Well, it was really valuable playing with all the Haitian percussionists on this album because my French is really bad and my Haitian Creole is even worse. So the only way I could communicate with these drummers was through music. And the only way most of us could communicate it was through rhythm and music. And so we actually had to really become better musicians in order to communicate how the song went to these guys. And it was like a university course in musicianship. So that was extremely valuable.
Is it true one of the Haitian percussionists in the band at the moment is Little Will, perhaps a bit of a brethren to yourself now, Will?
T Will, and I'm Fat Will.
No, wait, Big Will, Big Papa Will. Come on,
Go with Papa Will.
Come on.
It's been 3 years. I'm like 340 pounds now. You'll see me in January. I'm huge now.
All right, cool. Well, it must be something about the place too, because you go to Haiti. These are people who have no electricity, a lot of them. Whereas you guys in your worlds, you are privileged, you have this incredible career, you're hailed and loved by a lot of people around the world, there's a lot of hype around you. There must be such a contrast in those two experiences, and we see this in this track Afterlife we're about to play too, when you're looking beyond. Do you think that's fair enough too? Like, Haiti represents the basics to you guys as well?
To be honest, it was more that we were just playing these shows in front of people who had no idea who we were and no idea of any of our musical influences, and they didn't like us as much as they like the Haitian band. And we were like, oh, but we want Haitians to like us as much as they like the Haitian band.
Tough crowd. Okay, great.
We might have a bit more of a chat with Will about the Haitian influences.
Good crowd. Very warm crowd.
Lovely crowd.
As well as a Jamaican castle that Arcade Fire spent a little bit of time with. But here is another track from their album Reflector. This is Afterlife.
Afterlife there from Arcade Fire on Triple J. This is The Breakfast Show. Tom and Alex are here having a good old chat to Will Butler, a member of Arcade Fire, which at the moment I think is at a 10-piece. The 10-piece, is that what we're locked in at the moment, Will?
There are 10 of us on stage.
10 of us on stage. Right, all right, let's lock that in. Our feature stars this week, Reflector is out a bit later on, and we're chatting to Will about all things Reflector.
Yes, and is it true, Will, that you knew a song was ready to go as soon as you got Regine dancing along to the track? Was she your barometer for this album?
On a couple of them. To To be honest, it was more valuable to strangers who would be walking through or in the various studios we were at. If someone was walking through and they would poke their head in and were kind of like nodding their head, it'd be like, oh, the stranger likes it. We're doing good.
It's a good watermark. Wynn has said on the Colbert Report that ideally people will be listening to this record, shaking their asses with a little tear in their eye. That is the general aim, melancholy yet euphoric dance music?
Yeah, there's a long history of that in the Commonwealth.
Long literature of that.
Yeah, we understand you as a member of the realm.
Yeah, James Murphy's maybe nods to that influence as well. We've had David Bowie mentioned as well. Any other secret guests that popped up and dropped by the studio to have a crack at any of these tracks?
Oh, gosh. None popped to mind. None that I can tell you about, obviously. Obviously, there were reams of them, but have to keep it secret. No, I can't think of anyone.
Yeah.
And speaking of these recording studios, what was the go with this castle in Jamaica? Can you describe this thing for us?
Well, it was slated to be renovated to become a luxury hotel, which I believe it is at this point. But we got the cheap nights because it was pre-renovated, so when it would rain, they would have to bring out all the buckets and set them out around the castle. And it was great. We all stayed together. We moved all the furniture out of the master bedroom and played up there, and it was great. It was hilarious, in fact.
What was hilarious? Were you playing pranks? Did you have mattresses on the floor? What was happening?
Well, we were in this giant castle that it looked like a classic English castle, but it was built in 1979 in Jamaica. So it was like, oh, it's a weird disco castle. But it really, it was really going for something.
That's a lovely place for you to put music together, I think, with this record. That's good. On Triple J, we've got Will Butler from Arcade Fire joining us on the line from Miami, Florida, about to take to the stage, but very kindly giving some time to talk about the new record, Reflector, our feature all this week. We're going to play Normal Person here, Will. What can you tell us about Normal Person?
It was written by a bunch of people who aren't normal people. But it was inspired by a couple Wynn had met in a bread and breakfast in Jamaica who shall remain unnamed, but who are very normal. Who were asking if we were a normal band or if we were one of those weirdo bands. I think we realized we were one of those weirdo bands.
And you're not normal, but you have met normal people. Okay, good to know.
Well, here we go.
On Triple J, Normal Person. There you go, another tune from Arcade Fire, Reflector, the fourth record, the long-awaited record, finally coming out this week. We're lucky enough to be featuring it, and Will Butler is joining us on the line as we speak. Normal person there, meeting some normal people, deciding that you're weirdos and making weird, wonderful music.
Yeah, it's a big sprawling album. You've heard a few tracks over the week, but I heard, Will, that you had about 60 songs from which to choose from and to work on through the process. Are any of those going to be maybe cropping up on a future Arcade Fire album? What are you going to do with the tracks that didn't make it onto Reflector?
Yeah, they'll pop up. Hopefully they'll pop up in the shows every once in a while because you learn to play them better when you play them in front of people, but they'll pop up in some ways. And anything that would be great will end up on an album someday.
Was there a song that was your particular baby that you wanted on the album but didn't quite fit at all?
To be honest, the album is long enough that it takes in everything we absolutely couldn't cut. But there were a couple sad ones that were a little lighter in tone, maybe a little too white album.
Didn't quite make it. All right, amazing, man. Well, thank you so much for your time. It's great to catch up and great to talk about this. And so many people are excited about dancing, shaking their asses with tears in their eyes during summer when you're out for Big Day Out 2014. Can we get an idea? Can you give us any little morsels about what we can expect when we see you guys on stage? A renowned live act indeed. Anything particular special for 2014? Are we getting the bobbleheads? That's what I want to know.
I wouldn't be shocked if you saw a bobblehead, but we'll be pretty good at playing the songs at that point. We wanted to make sure we got some practice in before we got there, so we should be half decent by January.
Awesome. Well, last time I was lucky enough to see you at the Big Day Out, you brought the massive, expensive organ as well, which popped up on tracks like Intervention. Will that be making the trip again, or is it not enough room in the truck?
We'll have to see. The freight bill might get a little high, so we've got a lot of drums to bring, so we'll see if after we get all the drums in, the organ will fit.
But you'll be 350 pounds by then as well, so you'll be taking up a couple of seats too.
Yeah, Big Daddy Will. Hey, Will, thank you so much for your time, man. Take it easy, have a great gig, and we'll see you next year.
Thanks a lot. See you guys soon.
Triple J.
Check it out.